Hey everybody, welcome back to the Persian Wars, a series of showdowns between the Persian Empire and the Greek city-states. Last we left off, the city-state of Athens had pissed Persia off by aiding a province of Persia to revolt, and now the King Darius, the Persian emperor, is invading Greece. So let's see what happens on the battlefield. So Darius sailed to Greece and landed at Marathon, where the Greeks, led by an Athenian commander named Miltiades, were waiting for him. This is on the Greek sides. We have Athens soldiers, Athenians, with aid from soldiers from Plataea, who will become very important later in the video. They have arranged their soldiers in the Greek phalanx, which is a tight formation of heavy infantry, as you can see. Their shields covering every inch of their bodies, and their spears pointing outwards, and they advance as an entire block towards the enemy. The Persians have their archers and their infantry. So the battle drags on and on until the Greeks outflank the Persians by sending phalanxes on their left and right sides. And so to avoid getting trapped, the Persians retreat to their ships, and Darius never gets to fulfill his promise of burning Athens to the ground. However, his son Xerxes, who succeeds him, does. And he wants to burn Athens to the ground in honor of his father. So he invades again in the second Persian invasion of Greece. So he crosses the Hellespont, a strait right about here, behind Xerxes. He crosses through Thrace, and then into Greece here. And then he meets a small Greek force under Spartan king Leonidas at the pass of Thermopylae, which is a narrow strip of land between some mountains and the ocean. Now, the Greeks are greatly outnumbered by the Persians. The Persians have tens of thousands, while the Greeks only have about 6,000. Nevertheless, they hold a strategic position, and the Persian light infantry do nothing against the Greek heavy infantry. And the battle drags on and on and on, with no real gains. The Persians keep pushing and pushing and pushing, but the Greeks keep holding. The Persians' shields are splintered, and they're just mowed down. And Xerxes is getting worried by the end of the first couple days. Because if he goes on like this, if more and more brave and able and capable men die like this every single day, his invasion's going to go nowhere. He's not going to be able to get to Athens. However, a Greek trader comes in and tells Xerxes of a narrow path through the mountains. It would be difficult, but the Persians could possibly use this path to get around the Greeks and attack from behind. Xerxes did just that, sending his light infantry around the Greeks and engaging them from behind. Now at this point, the Greek position is hopeless. They're being attacked on from both sides, and eventually both sides will meet. They can do nothing about it because they have less men, way less men than the Persians. So the Spartans, the core of the Greeks, vow to fight to the death so that the rest of their comrades could get away. And this is incredibly brave. They actually didn't care about death anymore because they were gonna die anyway. And so as they were slowly being annihilated, they fought and they fought and they fought and they fought so doggedly. When their swords broke, they fought with their spears. When their spears shattered, they fought with their shields. When their shields cracked and splintered, they fought with their bare hands. When their hands got lopped off, they fought with their teeth. I mean, it was insane. But alas, despite their bravery, the Greeks were wiped out. At least the Spartans were wiped out. But the battle will be forever immortalized. The Battle of Thermopylae, and the bravery of the 300 Spartans that fought against the mighty Persians. Let's move on. So after the Battle of Thermopylae, the citizens of Athens panicked since Thermopylae was actually quite close to Athens, and they fled. Xerxes came along 2 weeks later and burned down the city just like his father had vowed to, and he fulfilled his father's promise. One Athenian leader, however, decided to change the course of the war by cutting off Xerxes' access to the sea and placing sea superiority in Greek hands. His name was Themistocles, and he was quite smart. Let's see how his plan worked out. One day, a loyal Greek slave, he went to the Persian camp and he told the Persians that the Greek ships would defect to the Persians if they would attack now. The Greek ships were anchored at a place called Salamis, which was a narrow strait with very little room for maneuvering. So Xerxes, surprised, he went into the straits in order to pursue the Greeks, who were mostly made up of Athenians, by the way, the Athenian ships. So the Athenians led him closer and closer into the strait, and he went farther and farther in, and every inch he traveled, the less he was going to be able to maneuver when he actually engaged the Greeks. Suddenly, a larger force of Greek ships showed up out of nowhere. And since he had very little room to maneuver, he couldn't get away, and his fleet was destroyed. Oh, yeah. Following that, Xerxes fled back to Persia and left the army's command in the hands of a subordinate general. So the next year, Xerxes did not actually go back to Greece. Instead, the general that he placed in charge of commanding his troops, led the army that campaign season, and he met the Greeks, a combined force of Athenians and Spartans, at Plataea. Remember Plataea? Yeah? The guys who fought with Athens and routed the Persians at Marathon? Yeah, that Plataea. Okay. I think you remember. If you don't, well, too bad, because they're in Plataea right now, so. Anyway, the two sides met in a very standard form of ancient warfare. The two sides, the Greek phalanxes against the Persian light infantry. Who will win? You will? Okay, let's see. Oh, yeah, that's gotta hurt. Okay, yeah, yeah. Anyway, so Persia's army got wiped out at the Battle of Plataea, and with that, Xerxes knew he would never have a chance to conquer Greece ever again. And thus concluded the Persian Wars. But where does that leave us? What lesson should we take from these conflicts? So, meet Herodotus. Herodotus, this is the audience. And Herodotus just wants to show you his book, aptly named The Histories. Now, Herodotus is considered to be the world's first true historian who recorded historical events based on facts and not mythology. So in his book, The Histories, he stated that Greece is the land of the free and Persia is not. That it was good that the Greeks won. He portrayed the Persians as oppressors of freedom and enslavers, while the Greeks were saintly, democracy-loving people. That wasn't quite true. For one, in places like Sparta, there were up to 7 slaves for every citizen. I mean, 7 slaves for every citizen. That's a lot of slaves. And the Persians didn't even have slaves. So what's the, oh gosh, hello Mr. Historian. I was just checking around here. I'm just gonna summarize your thoughts, okay? So what this historian is trying to say, I'm just gonna simplify it for you, is that we embody the spirit and ideas of both sides. For example, the democracy of Athens, the military skill of Sparta, and the administrative talents of Persia is all in our world today. They can all be seen in our world today. That means we shouldn't favor one side over another because we are made up of both sides. Both sides melt together during the Persian Wars to create the world we know today. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you'll be notified when I make more videos. Big thanks to Janelle Allemandi, my 6th grade social studies teacher, for getting me started on this series. And I'll see you next time when we talk about communism. Everybody's favorite. Bye-bye.